All right, I'm down here in the Palm Beaches of South Florida. I'm on Singer Island once again. And in this video, I'm gonna give you 13 things that you should know before buying an oceanfront beach condo. When I moved down here 3 years ago, I didn't know anything about condo life or beach life. Now, these are things I came up with. It's from my experience living here and as a real estate broker in South Florida. So stay tuned to the end because I have a couple extra tips that I threw in there that you really want to hear about. All right, let's get after it. Today I'm on the 18th floor on Singer Island, Riviera Beach in the Palm Beaches of South Florida. And you can see the view behind me is absolutely incredible. You know, it's the middle of summer, the water's blue. It is a little windy out here, but that's how it is. And that's what I like about living on the beach. You get that breeze, there's no bugs or anything like that, so it's really kind of nice. So I'm gonna go in depth on 13 things that you should know about purchasing or living in a beachfront condo. Even if you're thinking about renting one, you really wanna watch this video. Number one is location. You wanna make sure that the property that you're looking to either buy or lease is in the right location for you. Now I live basically in the center of the island, so it's really quiet down here. All of the hotels and all the tourists are pretty much to the south of me. But that's not to say there's not expensive buildings down there. Matter of fact, the most expensive buildings are down there. You have the Amrat, you have the Ritz, you have Marriott's properties. So there's some very expensive properties to the south. But it can be a little bit noisier there. You're gonna be closer to where all the bars and shopping is. So in the evenings, you might hear some live music and things like that. But this island, all in all, is pretty quiet, so it's not that much to worry about. The other thing you want to think about is elevation. So I'm on the 18th floor right now. My property is actually on the ground floor. So as far as elevations, there's all different types of elevations. I can tell you right now, the higher you go up, it gets a little windier. When you're in the lower of elevations, not as windy. So you want to have, you know, heavy furniture. You don't want stuff that can blow around. If you have plants and stuff, you got to bring them in on a windy day. There's things that you want to keep in mind when you go higher up in a building. So there's buildings that are much higher than this one. You can see the ones across from me. That one's over 20 stories, and there's a number of them that are much higher than that, but this is as high as this building goes. Now, when you're buying a property, usually the view and the elevation and the price coincide. So the higher you go up goes the price. The view, the better view, which here on this coast is the southeast view. That's the higher priced properties on the southeast. Northeast would be second. And then west views would be the least expensive. Number two on the list is the age of the property. How old is the property? Now, I happen to be in a property that was built in the 70s, but this property has withstood a number of big storms and hurricanes, and it's always been well maintained. So the newer properties are going to have less maintenance to begin with in the beginning. There's a property that's just coming online, you know, they're going to be giving occupancy soon. They're not going to have any type of maintenance they're going to need to do to the building, to the structure, anything like that. But I can show you properties on the north end of the island. They're taking off the balconies, they're redoing rebar inside the concrete. I mean, they're doing all kinds of things, putting all kinds of storm protection and things like that. But my building, they pretty much maintain it. They paint it regularly, and they keep, you know, everything under wraps. Number three, is the property well funded? Meaning, do they have reserve funds to take care of any deferred maintenance, any big projects? Case in point, when I moved in here 3 years ago, association fees were around $600. Now they're around $1,000 or so. So the HOA fees went up. If you're on a fixed income, you know, be prepared. Condo fees don't normally go down. If they have a special assessment in place, they'll take and remove that once it's paid for. But as far as the fees, they rarely come down. So here, in fact, we had to put in new elevators. So there's 4 elevators, and right now they're being worked on actually. And they're replacing them. It's a $2.5 million job. So between the 240 people that live here, 240 units, everyone's going to get hit. Everyone got hit with $10,000. Now that's something you have to pay for. That's out-of-pocket expense that you have to come up with. So that's something you got to keep in mind. So that's a special assessment. But on top of that, they changed the laws, so they have to have some things in place. So they're doing these inspections now, and they have these engineers come out and they take a look at the building to see if it's structurally sound, and they make sure that, what's the age of the roof, the age and the lifespan of the roof, and they do some sort of calculations of the roof, the building, everything, all the types of major maintenance, structural maintenance and things like that, paint even, and they make sure that you have funds available for that. And so what they're going to do is they make you, they can't defer that out. You have to go out and put that in. They have to raise HOA fees or doing a special assessment to get enough money in there to pay for these repairs down the road. So they'll be putting in so much more each year to fund that. Now, case in point, we have a $10,000 special assessment. I've seen buildings that were lesser value, the units were less value, they were actually paying more. They had a $40, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 special assessments for major repairs to the buildings. Now, our building didn't require that, but there's some right here on the island and in other parts along the coast that are undergoing the same thing. $100,000 special assessment. So it just depends on what the building's like, how it's been maintained. Now you're going to have a condo association fee, and what it is, it varies from building to building. But if you're getting high-rise condos, it's going to be at least $500, $600, probably $600, on up to $1,000. And I've seen them, $5,000. There's a building 3 doors down from me. It's $5,000, even though it's a newer building, but it has a manned guard at the front and at the door, and they're much larger units, but they got to keep everything super high maintained. But that's what you're going to get into. Those are over $5,000 just a month for the condo association fee. Also the taxes, you want to look at that as well, because usually the taxes, if the condo association fee is high, usually the taxes are too. But taxes are more by value rather than the association fee. So what do you get with that? What kind of amenities? I mean, if I'm paying $5,000, I want to have some, something going on there. You know what I'm saying? So what do you get? They've got the most amazing pool. They've got one of the most amazing gyms. The utilities, you get, your water and your cable and internet, but you don't get your electric. Obviously your garbage, and they get a car wash there, that kind of stuff. And everyone has parking spaces, underground parking, so it's a pretty secure place. Here, it's different. One, I couldn't afford the $5,000 a month condo fee, but for $1,000, we have some parking spaces outside, some are covered. We don't have any type of security at the gate, but we just have a gate that opens with your pass. So that's what we have. We have maintenance, and we have office people here every day. But other than that, that's how this is here. It's kind of low key, but we don't have all the extras at the other place. But we do have a gym. It's nothing like the gym that has an expensive condo association fee, but it's still the same. It's a gym. And the beach, well, the beach is the same for everyone, really. Storm protection. What kind of storm protection do you have? So this property I'm at right now, and my property, we have hurricane glass. So this glass is very expensive, but not only does it shield you from the storm, but the sound and everything. When you close these doors behind you, it's super quiet. You don't even hear the wind out there. So it not only acts as a storm protection, but sound protection as well. And also you could have shutters. So even though this one has the glass, I've seen where it had the glass and the storm shutters, and they actually go around the balcony and everything else. It's just what you want and what you want to pay for. So I'm going to throw in there with the storm protection, I'm going to throw in there security. What kind of security do you have at your building? Now I feel safe in these properties. They're all gated, but it wasn't too long ago we had somebody go through the gate somehow.
You don't belong here.
Go into the mailroom and somehow got in there. I don't know if it was when the construction guys were here, they had the door open, I have no idea. Went in the mailroom and grabbed some packages and went into the stairwell and opened them up. So did they harm anybody? No, but that happens, and that can happen no matter where you're at. And this is one of the safest places. This is the safest place I've ever lived. This is absolutely incredibly safe. Do they have guards? Do they have 24-hour guards? how do you get into your building? How is it accessed? Do you use a fob? Just that kind of stuff. You just want to know how it is, how it's accessed. It's just what your safety level is. But for me on the island here, I feel safe everywhere, so that's how I am. So what about your vehicles and parking? So I kind of touched on this earlier. Some places have 100% underground parking. Some places have just covered parking. Like our parking here is underneath our pool deck area. So it's a large parking lot, but not everybody gets that. Or maybe they get one space and they have another one that's outside. And then you got to look at what kind of guest parking do you have. We have quite a bit of guest parking here, but if everyone had a guest coming on the same day, there wouldn't be enough parking, and there is no off-street parking. So you got to just take a look and see what kind of parking there is available. Now also, are the parking spaces clearly marked? So you want to look at that. So where's your parking space in regards to your unit? Because we get some pretty heavy rains down here. If you have an outside parking space and it's not even close to the door, you're going to be running through the rain to get there, but it's only water, so I guess you'll be all right then. And can you have a pickup truck? Now a lot of people, they have pickup trucks, and there's some pickup trucks that are a lot nicer than a lot of cars. Even those little Jeep things that have they're like the little pickup trucks that are really popular right now, you can't leave those here permanently. They will not allow you to do that. So you better know what kind of parking is, or you might find yourself buying a new vehicle in order to stay in your condo or down here. Another thing on the vehicles, what I would do, and I'm going to get to this later, but I see these people, if you don't have indoor parking here, you might want to watch what vehicle you have here. I mean, I see people parking a Bentley outside or $300 Bentley out there, and the salt water in the air really wreaks havoc on cars, the brakes. It gets underneath, it gets everywhere. Salt gets everywhere. So you really want to pay attention to that. You want to make sure you're washing your car regularly, or at least rinsing it off. You'll get a film on there like within a day, depending on which way the wind's blowing, if it's blowing off of the ocean. And it can really, I'm on my 4th set of brakes in 3 years down here in the Palm Beach, South Florida. And since we're talking about garages, you might want to check out the storage. Is there any extra storage? So if you have a bike or anything like that, you really want to store it inside. If you leave it outside here, it will become just a rust bucket within a month. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what the salt will do. Like I said, on the brakes, it'll take a bicycle, and you can have a $1,000 bicycle. It'll destroy it over the summer. I mean, that's how fast it is. Number 9, we're going to talk about rental restrictions. So if you're a renter, you really won't have to listen to this. But if you're a buyer, you want to know, hey, can I buy this and can I rent it? If I rent it, do I have to wait? Can I buy it and rent it immediately? You might buy a property like right now, and some of these places have rental restrictions. You can't rent it for the first year, or sometimes for the first 2 years that you own it. So you want to check that out. It's usually on the listing, but sometimes the listings are wrong. Yes, they are. So you want to verify that. The other thing is, how long can you rent it for? Is the minimum 3 months? Is the minimum 6 months? So maybe you're going to, just leave you're going to live here for 6 months or 9 months out of the year, want to rent it the rest of the time. There's restrictions on how long you can lease a property for. A minimum, say a minimum of a month, or a minimum of 3 months, or a minimum of 6 months. All buildings and associations are different. You really want to check that out. You also want to check out and make sure they're not letting people do Airbnb, because I don't know about you, but if I got $1 million property, I don't want a bunch of Airbnbers coming and hanging out with in the building, and every week there's a new person staying there. Because part of the thing about living in a beachfront condo, you really get this incredible sense of privacy. Even though the whole world is out that way, it's very private that way. It's like your backyard, right? So the other thing, number 10, this is the pet policy. You want to check and see if you have a dog or a cat, whatever it is, you know the policy on that. And there's ways around that. If you have to bring your dog, you can get if you have a service dog, whatever it is, I know that. So you might think maybe you have bad allergies or whatever, and you think you're going to a building with no dogs, and you find out, wow, every third person has a dog. So there's dogs everywhere, dogs on the elevators, everywhere. But you just want to check that out. So that's something you really want to keep in mind when you're looking for a condo. What is the pet policy? Is there a size limit? I've seen people out on the beach with Great Danes. I don't know if I'm going to be the person scooping for the Great Dane, but you know, that's what goes on here. So nobody has one in my building, but it's just something you really want to look into. Now, number 11, this is something I came up with. This is kind of interesting. Smoking policy. And you would think, well, why the heck would it matter? Well, you might think that you're in your own unit that you paid, you know, $500,000, $1 million for, maybe $2 million for. A lot of these units share the same return air. And I know this for a fact because I've been in people's units where the neighbors smoking weed all the time.
Marijuana, yeah.
And guess what? You get to smell in your property. The skunk. Yeah. So you think, hey, or even with cigarettes, whatever it is, whatever, cigars, they're smoking it, you get to smell it. So, or if they're cooking a lot of food that you don't like the smell of, whatever it might be, those return airs, you know, we have big chillers up on this property. We have a big chiller system. So my return air is shared by my neighbors a little bit because that return air comes out of the ceiling. It's not airtight sealed. So it does, you know, you will get those smells from your neighbor's property.
Smell it. Go on, smell it.
I mean, I've gotten laundry smells in my property from certain, when my neighbors are doing laundry. So you can, trust me, you're going to get, you know, those smells. So you just want to see what the policy is on smoking and things like that. If you're hyperallergenic about stuff and you're going to get ticked off about it, make sure you don't get any of that. And the best way to find out about that is just ask. The other thing is the beach access. What's it like and is it maintained? You know, our beach access is well maintained. You have to have a fob to go in and out of there, which most of them do. We have a shower up above, so when you come off the beach, you got sand all over you. Maybe you went in the ocean, you get salt water. You can shower off. So you want to just see what that's like. Does it have a beach service there as far as like chairs and umbrellas? Most of them do here. They go up and down the beach. You pay for either a seasonal pass, a monthly pass, or you can pay for a lifetime pass. I know right now a lifetime somewhere around over $2,000. I think the annual's like something like $600-700, and then you can pay for a monthly as well. And they do catch you. You can't go and use chairs, someone else's chairs and stuff. They come around all day long checking to see, you know, they know who their clients are and they know who their paying customers are, and they will get you. So you don't want to do that.
You pay.
So here's my bonus tips I want to give you. And I kind of touched on this earlier. You got to be aware of the salt around here. It gets everywhere. It gets on your car. Anything you leave outside, the salt's going to get it. So you're going to want to rinse that stuff off or bring it inside. If it's something that's going to get eaten up by the salt, you want to bring it inside. You don't want to leave a bicycle outside. Your car's going to be out there, but you know, you want to rinse that off. If you're not driving for a few days, just take it and rinse it off. My condo has a wash area, you know, with a hose and everything. We have a fob there. You turn it on and just, you know, you rinse your car off. I do that even if I'm, you know, sometimes I'll get my car washed and I'll come back the next day. It's just got a bunch of salt film on it. So I just rinse it again. I don't run back to the car wash. It takes a few minutes and it dries off as I drive down A1A. Another thing to keep in mind is when people do property renovations. So down here in South Florida, the season they call it, not a term I was used to up in Illinois, but the season is from November 1st until the end of April. In our Condo Association, the rules say that you can't be doing any type of renovations or anything like that. So like right now in the summertime, one, they're doing the elevators here, that's noisy, but two, people are doing things like ripping up tile, and it doesn't matter if they're 5 floors away from you. It sounds like they're in your condo, you know, like you're getting some dental work done. That's how loud it gets sometimes when you're in a condo, when people are doing that type of work, either tearing up tile or drilling or cutting. Some people be drilling things 5 units up above me, putting in new windows and stuff, and it sounds like they're right there inside the condo. So the good thing is they can only do it, you know, during the day from like 9 until 5, and they got to be out of here. But it can be very annoying, especially if you stay here year-round. So if you like what you hear and see on this video, be sure and hit that like and subscribe button. If you're thinking about moving down here, relocating, maybe you're looking for an oceanfront condo, something on the intercoastal, maybe a golf course community, 55 and older, whatever it might be, new construction, something in town. Now, I've helped a lot of people buy properties down here and sell properties in South Florida. But you got to do what those people did. You got to reach out. You got to give me a call, a text, or an email. All my information is down below. So if you just have any questions, you want to reach out, once again, give me a call, a text, an email. I'm here to help. I'm Ray Petric, your real estate expert in the Palm Beaches of South Florida. I'm going to the beach.